We're also following the breaking news out of Florida's Fort Lauderdale Airport, where a gunman opened fire today, killing 5 people, injuring at least 8 others, some of them now, according to the Florida governor, fighting for their lives, sending hundreds of people fleeing. The suspect is in custody. The airport is closed as authorities sweep the area. But we're also following the other breaking story. Donald Trump has now been briefed by the intelligence community leadership as a declassified report has been released today on Russia's attempt to try to sway the U.S. election. Let's discuss, let's bring in our experts, and Evan Perez, our CNN Justice correspondent, the highlights of this newly released report. This is declassified, this report. It's lengthy. I've gone through the whole thing. It is pretty amazing when you see what they're saying in the declassified version. You can only imagine what's in the classified version.
Right. We know that the classified version, which members of Congress have now been able to see this afternoon, the President-elect Donald Trump was able to get briefed on personally by the 4 top intelligence officials of the United States earlier today, Wolf. We know that it contains significant information, not only including how they were able to put together a picture of the Russian intelligence agencies taking the information that they had hacked from these Democratic Party organizations and then provide it to WikiLeaks and other organizations that were publishing it over the last few months. We know that they go into greater detail, providing that kind of proof to the lawmakers. And you might have noticed that some of the statements that have come out today have essentially backed off of all of the doubts about giving us more proof, give us more proof. I think now some of those officials have now seen some of the proof. And one of the things that I found remarkable about the report is it goes into some of the reasonings behind why Vladimir Putin preferred Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton and his beefs essentially with the United States, including his view that the Panama Papers, these documents that showed where Russian oligarchs were hiding their money all over the world, Wolf, that he viewed that as something that the United States had done to embarrass Russia, that the report that showed Russian athletes were doping during recent Olympics, that was done by the United States to embarrass Russia. He seemed to be trying to hit back at the United States because of that.
David Axelrod, in this report, what jumped out at you?
Well, I mean, in a sense, it was stark in the sense that all the details were put together. It did confirm what we've been hearing for some time, and it underscored the fact that this was a kind of audacious assault on our sovereignty and our democracy. It's bewildering as to why Mr. Trump can't set aside his own concerns here and recognize that this is serious business. He's president of the United States. I think, he's had some scores during this transition period in terms of dealing with corporations and some other issues. This is a big blemish, and he needs to move out of this. He needs to get out of this fight with the intel community and this peculiar affinity for Russia, or he is, I think, going to run into big political problems with his own party as well as the Democratic Party.
We're going to be getting his view from his incoming White House press secretary, Sean Spicer. We're going to be speaking with him fairly soon. We'll get that perspective as well. Phil Mudd, you used to work at the CIA. What jumped out at you?
2 words in there. The level of confidence, when they talk about high confidence, is remarkable for an intelligence professional. Let me tell you why. In the post-WMD environment, after the WMD debacle in Iraq, the intelligence community went through a process to be sure when they spoke on issues like this, they distinguished between what they thought and what they were highly confident of. After that searing experience, when I see something of this magnitude on domestic politics in a presidential election in the United States, and the intel guys I worked with use those words, high confidence, I walk away saying, we're not seeing all the intel here, but it's got to be pretty damn good for them to come up with this level of confidence, Wolf.
Because in the report, it says all 3 agencies, the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the National Security Agency, it says all 3 agencies agree with this judgment. CIA and FBI have high confidence in this judgment about Russian involvement. NSA has moderate confidence. Why do you think the NSA, the National Security Administration, which is in charge of electronic intercepts and other information, they have moderate confidence as opposed to the CIA and FBI, which have high confidence?
Well, let's step through this, Wolf. One of the critical elements of any intelligence assessment, and I'm going to judge this conversation took place in Trump Tower today, is distinguishing between what you think and what you know. We have two pieces of intelligence here. Number one, what happened? High confidence, I think, among all agencies, that Russian entities, sometimes working through intermediaries, stole information to affect the election. There is a second piece that sometimes we're mixing in inappropriately. How confident are we that this was approved, authorized by the highest levels of the Russian government?
That's much more difficult. The vice president-elect is outside of Trump Tower.